Yeah. Uptown. Yo, we kicking it live. Vince and Stevie D, OWSports Podcast is the place to be. Bills Mafia, repping the red, white, and blue, no doubt. With Josh Allen, just stand up and shout. Gang green, coming with that New York flair. Jets in the mix, you know they taking it there. The rivalry is fierce, but they keep it 100. Legends in the making, pressure never stunted. From MetLife to Highmark, bright lights when the night's dark. Touchdown, dreams, steel beams, leave a big spark. Bills and Jets, we clash on the field, but on this podcast, we keep it sealed. Respect for the game, we all in the zone. Vince and Stevie D, we holding our own. So tune in tight, don't miss a beat. OW Sports, where the real ones meet. Sit back.
It's OW Sports, the fastest growing podcast about the Buffalo Bills and New York Jets. You get the best takes, the most engaging interviews, and they are always keeping it real. So sit back, relax, and get ready to talk some NFL. Now here's your hosts, Vince and Stevie D.
And welcome back to another edition of Official Word Sports. I'm Vince, and I am missing my co-host, Stevie D. Stevie D ran into some technical issues, and hopefully he'll be able to get that squared away and join us a little bit later on during the podcast. But we absolutely had to go forward with this one. I mean, no other reason than to kind of kick it off and talk about what happened on Sunday night. If you are a Ravens fan, Craig, if you're out there, if you are a Ravens fan, you probably are still in shock, still in disbelief. If you are part of Bills Mafia, you're probably in shock and disbelief as well. What we witnessed is probably one of those things that will go down in the history of the Buffalo Bills as kind of the turning point. That was it. That was it. We've seen teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, and we just scratch our head and we're just like, you're so lucky. And not to say that Buffalo was lucky, because when you have the guy under center or taking it from shotgun with the big S on his chest, then you're not lucky. But things just happened to fall your way. And everything just seemed, as soon as the fourth quarter started, everything just seemed to start to snowball and really go into effect and allow the Bills to be able to kind of impose their will, allow the fans that were still there to impose their will, and that momentum to just go ahead and carry through. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. Now, I will be honest with you, and I said it on our rapid reaction. Well, about 5 minutes ago, I told Stevie D, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm heading to the lab, and I was prepared to kind of unload on Sean McDermott, if you will. A lot of things were going through my mind, especially realizing how crucial and how pivotal a week one game, how pivotal and how crucial it was. And what I was watching out there was I was in a little bit of disbelief. How could we allow this to happen? I mean, think about it. It's Highmark Stadium. It is our last home opener, and we're going to allow Derrick Henry to just impose himself, do what he normally does against us like that. Just these massive holes. We're going to allow Lamar Jackson, who we developed the game plan. We know how to control Lamar. And we allowed Lamar to do those things. Yeah, I was ready. I was absolutely ready. And then all of a sudden, it just started to happen. You could feel it. It was kind of like, if you guys, especially Bills fans, Bills Mafia, you remember, we would have those snow games, and all of a sudden the snow would just start trickling down. And as the snow started to come down, the fans were starting to feel that vibe and starting to get into it. And next thing you know, the team just kind of fed off of that and just started rolling. And it was similar. It really was. It was similar, and had to just be part of that moment. And then as we started to watch Josh just do his thing, and again, he turned from Clark Kent. He took those glasses off. He opened up that shirt. We saw the S on the chest. And he just willed that team. Absolutely willed that team to victory. So just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And Hey, there's Craig. Yes, he did, Craig. He really did. And Craig, I'm glad you showed up. Definitely a great game for you. Those of you who don't know, Craig is a big diehard Ravens fan. We go at it with respect. With respect. And actually, let me take a moment. This is not a political show. We try to keep politics out of this almost 100%. But the events that took place today, they have no place in our society. No matter what side you're on, if you're left, if you're right, red or blue, it does not matter. We lost somebody who now has a wife who is a widow, kids who no longer have their father, a voice for the right. If you're on the left, you may not agree. That's okay. That's what this country is about. That's what OW Sports on a sports side is about. To be able to have conversation, for us to be able to debate and go back and forth, and leave it at that. The senseless shooting and ultimately the death of Charlie Kirk, no place in our society. And I just want to take a minute so that everybody can just reflect on that. All right, take a minute, take a pause. You know, again, from OW Sports, our hearts and prayers go out to his wife and his family. And as we do that, right, try to put that in the back of your head. Let's not allow this to manifest into something bigger. Right? We are all one. At the end of the day, we are all one. We're branded under USA. We're all Americans. All right. And Craig, we're all fans of the NFL. And sorry, Craig. Hold on a second. Who is this? Who could this be? But none other than Bill Tyson, a big-time Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And he is here. And Bill, good to see you. Too bad my boy Stevie D wasn't here so that you guys could go back and forth on the Steeler-Jet game. And I do see Rob. Rob, I didn't want to forget about you as well. But again, with mutual respect, with Craig being a Ravens fan, there wasn't a whole lot of trash talk going there. You know, at the end of the day, what did we ask for, Craig? We wanted nothing but a good game and nothing to come out of it with very little injuries. And that's really what we were hoping for. And I think for 3 quarters, you were treated to a really good game. That's for sure. And then I got the last 5 minutes? Maybe I'll say the last 15 minutes, but I got the last 5 minutes. And that last 5 minutes was worth all 60 minutes, to be honest with you. So definitely enjoyed it. You know, some things I do want to talk about, Craig, I am not rubbing it in. Trust me, I am not rubbing it in. But when I say that he's got an S on his chest, call him Clark Kent, call him whatever you want, he rips open that shirt. You see the 17 there. In 1 quarter, we're just talking 1 quarter, 251 yards passing. Now think about that. Think about that. You had guys like Jared Goff, the guy that they're talking about should have been MVP. Yeah, Josh had more than that. He had 3 total touchdowns, 2 passing, 1 rushing. In the game, 424 total yards. Dare I say, Craig, MVP. MVP. Now, I know it's only week 1, so I won't get started too early. I won't get started too early. But the one thing that we can agree on, that game is definitely an SB winner. Game of the year, right there. Write it down. You'll have your Ravens come up with my Bills to accept that SB for the game of the year. By far. By far. There's more to talk about, but as we typically do, we like to go around, and talk about what happened in the league, especially for week one. Where else do we start other than South Florida and the Miami Dolphins? I'm just going to let that sit there for a minute and take a little sip. Yeah, the Miami Dolphins. What a I don't know. I mean, to call it a train wreck, that may be giving it a little too light for the Dolphins over there. I mean, let's think about it. Here is a team that with Mike McDaniel, there were aspirations. They had thoughts that, this is it. You remember when they hung 70 on the Denver Broncos a couple of years ago? They just knew that this is the team that was going to take them to the promised land. Here you have one of these young and up-and-coming coaches, a guy with one sweat pant leg up and one down, looked like he was vaping on the sideline. Who knows what flavor it was or what it was, but vaping on the sideline. Here he is. They said, oh, we got Waddle and we got Hill and we got Tua. All right, Tua, can I get another concussion? They had Achan, and then all of a sudden you start looking at the defense, and they really thought that they were going to take it. They thought they were going to take the AFC East. They thought they were going to go all the way to Super Bowl. Now look at where we are. We are in 2025. Mike McDaniel is by far the first coach on the hot seat. I mean, there is no doubt about that one. Tua, you get benched. Zach Wilson has to come in for you. Tyreek Hill. Oh boy, Tariq. We got more domestic violence charges coming up against you. Nobody's going to want you there. The defense is just a mess. So you've traded everybody, and now look at what you have. And more than anything, think about this. Think about this. You let Daniel Jones, let me say it again, Danny Dimes, you let Danny Dimes go out there and say, hey, I deserve to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's on you, Miami. Horrible performance, and I don't see it getting any better. We are not a gambling show, but if we wanted to put odds, I'm saying week 5 or 6, Mike McDaniel is gone and out of Miami. I can't see it going any longer. All right, so we leave Miami, and then we go to the Thursday night special. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, of course. Thursday night special starts off with Spitgate. Jalen Carter, what are you thinking? Seriously, what are you thinking? The game didn't even get started. I mean, you ran from the sideline to get ready. And if it wasn't for the fact that somebody got hurt, which we're going to talk about that in a minute, if it wasn't for the fact that somebody got hurt on the opening kickoff, probably you don't get yourself in trouble. But that idle time was just kind of hanging around out there. And next thing you know, Dak kind of gets you into doing something. Now, yes, Dak did spit on the ground. Didn't hit you. May have been near you in proximity, but it didn't hit you. And you decide, no, that's it. That's it. And you go to Dak and you go and you spit at Dak on his chest. All right, that's bad. Disgusting. Bad. But how much of an idiot do you have to be to do something like that with the official standing right next to you? Blows my mind. Again, I'm not condoning the act of what you did, but know your surroundings. The guy's standing right there. He saw it. Dak saw it. And there you go. There you go. Out for the game. Now, out of this, we were debating offline in a chat that we have. Are you going to get suspended? I mean, I think just on general principle, for the fact that the official's standing there, you should have got suspended. But the NFL says, well, because you were kicked out of the game before you actually played a down, we're going to count that as the game suspension. So you just get fined. Hey, Roger, Again, I just keep shaking the head. Roger, what are you doing over there? What exactly are you doing as the commissioner of the NFL? There's no way you should let that slide. And then, of course, then the kids in college, they see it and they say, oh, okay, well, I'll do that. And that happened in the Gator game when they played USF. But one thing that I wanted to go back to was the fact that one of the things that we talked about leading up into opening week was the fact that players aren't playing in the preseason. And coaches have this fear that I can't play my player because I'm afraid of him to get hurt. I'm afraid of him getting hurt. We talked about what happened with Aaron Rodgers. 4 plays into the game, and he's done for the year. Preseason wasn't going to stop it. I keep saying you just don't know. You don't know if you're going to go the entire season without an injury. You don't know if it's going to be 4 plays into the season that you go down. You just don't know. So you can't coach and operate with fear. And in this Eagles-Cowboys game, you have a guy on the opening kickoff. On the opening kickoff, he goes down and he's done. Again, it proves that you just don't know. And so coaches, especially Sean McDermott, I implore you, this preseason's over with, but I implore you going forward, do not be afraid. Think more, play chess, not checkers, as they say. And that's more of a checkers move. Chess is, let me get all my guys on the same page. And maybe, if you had played your players, Derrick Henry wouldn't have run for 500 yards in 3 quarters. Maybe. I don't know, but maybe. Maybe Josh would have been better in sync with some of the receivers, and it took almost 3 quarters for that to happen. Maybe Josh would have thrown for 700 yards. Craig, that's kind of at you with that secondary. But maybe. Who knows? Who knows? All I'm saying, at times, ladies and gentlemen, certain things just happen. I don't know why. I don't know how things happen, but sometimes things just happen. And when they do happen, you have to just sit back and say, huh. Now, I was in mid-thought. I was just going down, talking about how Josh, if he would have thrown to his receivers in preseason, would have thrown for 700 yards. Again, that sounds about right. And not to coach with fear, that sounds about right. And then all of a sudden, I hear this little bird in my ear. And I'm trying to figure out what is this bird that I hear in my ear. And now my screen is shaking and things are going all haywire. I can't explain it. I don't know what's going on here. But what I do know is that very shortly, our man Stevie D is going to be in the house. I can tell you that. He's still working out some things there, but we're going to definitely try to get him in. So again, going back to what's most important. What is most important? It is about getting your team ready to play. That's what's most important. And when coaches decide that they are going to be afraid instead of doing what they're supposed to do, then you start to jeopardize not only the rest of the team, but you start to jeopardize what's going to happen in that game and what's going to happen with the team as they proceed or they progress down in the season. So those are some of the things that I just thought really kind of stood out. And as it stood out, you keep thinking, hey, how is this going to work? And Craig, to your point, it definitely is conditioning, right? That's a huge factor in that, right? You have to be well conditioned. I think we were watching a game. I'm not exactly sure which one it was, but I think we heard Aikman make reference to the fact um, of guys that were. I think he was talking about all of the soft tissue injuries. I think that's where he was going with that one. And part of what he was saying was that it's these guys who are not physically in shape and able to, take on the rigors of a regular 60-minute game because their bodies just have not acclimated to the speed and the ferocity of the game. So, definitely it could be conditioning. All right. I think there's a knock at the door. Who could this be? He's my man, Stevie D. Look, and there he is. There he is from his lab. Oh, wow. Stevie D.
What a day. That's all I can say is what a day, right? Just, I got to give kudos to Google Fiber. I do have to give them kudos. They got here super quick, all the way around. To test the line, and then to replace the line when my lawn guy, when they're aerating the lawn to get ready for seeds, cut through the line. So
You getting a little kickback on this from Google? Are they giving you some credits back?
I'm the first one to hammer a vendor when something goes wrong, right? I'm just conditioned, right? Take no crap from nobody, but they were great on this one.
All right, so Stevie D, just to bring you up to speed, not sure if you were watching, if you had a chance to follow along what we were talking about. Talked a little bit about the Dolphins. Talked a little bit about the Ravens, and just giving respect to Craig and saying that, at the end of the day, I'm not going to say it's a game because it's more than just a game. And that really bugs me when people say it's just a game. No, it's not. But you can be on opposite sides and you can still have mutual respect. Right. And so not going to rub it into Craig, even though I did talk about how Josh in the fourth quarter, in case Craig missed that one, how Josh went for 251 yards and 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Yeah, and
he put up some Blake Bortles stats there in the fourth quarter because Blake was big on getting the 200-plus yards in that fourth quarter.
In that fourth quarter, no doubt. Yeah. And, one thing I was going to leave this for you because you dropped a nugget for me with regards to John Harbaugh. And how his proficiency in the fourth quarter. And so
that's one way to put it, right? John Harbaugh has blown the most fourth quarter double-digit leads.
Yeah,
I mean, that's unbelievable. When you think of the Ravens and how much winning they've done in his tenure of 18 years, to blow those many fourth quarter leads, I don't know the exact number offhand, but it was just an astounding stat. I wouldn't have figured that out of the Ravens, especially with a stout defense. You wouldn't think, okay, Greg.
See, Craig, I think you've been hanging around me and Stevie D too much. You know what this is, Stevie D? This is kind of reverse, right? So you're just waiting. You're waiting for the second season to begin. And, that's okay. Get it all out. You want me to keep saying so that I kind of jinx myself. Craig, I've been in this game way too long. I already know, especially with that guy over there. Oh, let me tell you, you got to keep it. You got to keep it even keel. Just even keel. Just let it go. So if we do meet in the second season, I will say that thank goodness we at least right now have the edge up. I will say that.
Here's another reason why Vince doesn't like to get me going either. Because he knows that I've had the power of the whammy of calling and predicting injuries. And when I say it gets gold. So I have not used that power in some time because it's not fair. It's not right. And when I realized I had that power, I kind of abused it in the beginning because I thought it was like a new superpower. And I was throwing those darts and it was coming true. And he's like, "What the hell, dude? Shut your mouth. Can you stop?"
Literally, it would be a play or a week or a play or a series later, and the guy goes out, and I look over and what?
It was weird. It was so weird.
So the first time, okay, we'll chalk that up. The second time, easy. And so yeah, we just leave it there. The other thing, Stevie D, that you may have mentioned, good friend of mine, is a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, and so I thought you guys were going to be able to debate, but you weren't here. He comes on, so that's okay. That's okay. We'll let things lie where they are. Stevie D, let me go ahead and continue just on some things. So we talked about Spitgate. You may have caught part of that. Jalen Carter, well, I call it Spitgate. Jalen Carter, the dumbest thing you could do. The official's right here, and you're going to just huck a loogie. Why? And then we talk. He's back. He's still here. Oh, that could be. I'll save that for a few minutes. But he hucks a loogie. It's like, bro, what are you thinking? And then Goodell, the spineless one that he is, probably got a call from Jeffrey Lurie or Howie or whoever and said, well, he didn't get a chance to play in that game, so that should be his suspension.
Yeah, I think that's what it is, right? Did he even last to play? He didn't even get to play one defensive snap.
Did they blow the whistle to start the game?
Yes, they did.
Then the game started. That one shouldn't count. Now, you are playing the Kansas City Chiefs this week.
Why are you complaining?
So I am very happy.
You're being fair.
I am being happy. Exactly. Speaking of the Chiefs, Stevie D. So they're in Sao Paulo, and I'm wondering, has their luck run out? You have Kelsey run into Worthy, and now Worthy's gone, right? Who is really a key part of the offense with Rice, and they have some other guys, but he's really their guy. And now he's out, and it's not the same. If this was last year, Worthy would have gone into the blue tent, maybe got shot up a little bit. Who knows? This isn't playmakers, but he would have come back out and been ready to go. Didn't happen this time. So are we starting to see a little?
Well, we saw some infighting, right? Twice
we did.
On the offense and the defensive side of the ball. So that's kind of odd to see that in week one, right? Infighting that quickly. And Travis came out on his podcast and said that he was at fault with Worthy. That was his mistake, his fault. That he hit him and he felt awful. Then he took him out. He said it distracted him pretty much the rest of the game, knowing that he was at fault on that play that caused injury. So for him stepping up and saying that I was wrong, I thought that was pretty cool that he did that. I'm not a Travis Kelce guy, but I thought he took the ownership of it.
Taylor told him, "Hey, you got to do this." That's what happened. They were laying there, and he's just like, "Oh well." She's like, "No, Travis, no. Listen to me. I know how to work the media. I want you to get on your podcast and say it was my fault."
All right, I have to digress here and divert for like 30 seconds here. Did you see the video I sent you and Jay about the prenup video on Kelsey? I don't know if you watched it.
I have not watched that one yet.
Okay, so there is a skit that's out there that refers back to when George Costanza was proposed to the girlfriend.
I did see that, but I know which one you're talking. I did see that.
So the girlfriend that died because she licked the envelopes, right? And there's a video it says where George is Travis and Susan is Taylor Swift, and he asks her to sign a prenup. And she's like, "Are you serious?" And she starts basically laughing, like, "A prenup?" And she laughs and she goes running out of the room laughing. "Oh, you're so funny. You have no money." And
so, yeah, I'll sign it.
Whoever put that together to think of that was brilliant, because that's basically Travis and Taylor Swift. So that was pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, this guy is the king of sending videos. And I'm going to tell you, I have watched one video over and over and over, and it has nothing to do with sports.
Mhm.
It's about King Charles, the dog.
Okay.
That was the one that you sent where the dog kind of took control of the dog pound.
Oh
and
my
all-
God. Was that incredible?
The most, we're going to have to put it out on our page for you guys to watch this. I ended up doing YouTube searches for this dog, and there's a ton of videos on this dog. This dog is the alpha of all alphas.
I mean,
And
did
he
you see
doesn't look like
Black Dane, that big Black Dane just curled down, and then that other dog, he put the paw on the dog's throat and just said, "We're not going anywhere."
I didn't think I was going to get into this, but I mean, literally, CVD. I'm going to YouTube and I'm doing a search on this dog because, I was like, is this an AI created type thing? Because if you guys out there watch this video, I'm telling you, if you watch this video, you're going to just be in shock. But then I saw video after video, and there's different dogs. There was another dog that said, I think he said he was going to buck up and kind of be the alpha dog. And King Charles just looked at it and was like, "If you lost your mind," right? And they kind of went at it. And so then you just got to watch it because all the rest of the dogs kind of came around King Charles and they were looking at this one dog like, "Bro, no, this is the one. This is number 17. He's the one right there." And so then the dog kind of went away to the side, and the rest of the pack of dogs kind of circled around him. And they were saying that, when the dog submits, that's when he lays down. And that dog kind of looked around, was like, "Oh, this is not a good situation." And he just laid right down. I was like, "Oh my, you got to watch it.
Yeah.
You absolutely have to watch it." I know we just completely went on a tangent, but I'm telling you guys, go watch these
What's the
videos.
dog's name again? I don't even know the dog's name.
King Charles, and it was something else. You have to go watch it. Anyways,
So I do believe that the Chiefs showed, but even with all of that, the Chiefs weren't that far off from winning the game against the Chargers,
sure.
right? So the Chargers played a near perfect game, and the Chiefs didn't, and the Chargers barely won that game. So I don't know if I can say that the Chiefs are necessarily dead, but I'll tell you, they don't scare me offensively. They do not.
But Stevie D, if this was 2024, they would have found a way to win.
Sure, right. And yes, I totally get what you're saying because they had like 5 of those games last year where it took a miracle, right?
No, but
Official Word Sports, it was almost like literally UFC the way this dog came out.
it was like UFC. He tapped out.
Right?
He tapped out. All right, Stevie D. Let's continue as we hop through around the league. Bengals Browns. All right, so all I'm going to say are the Bengals completely ruin what we are saying about having to play in the preseason because I don't know what that was. But what we do know is that the Bengals stink when the regular season comes around.
The first couple of weeks.
First 4 weeks, they stink. So it doesn't matter if you play or you don't play.
And it's hard to fathom a team with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins can only get 7 total yards in any half of any game.
Yep.
It's hard to fathom. You can say one quarter, the other team held the ball, you didn't get many possessions. Okay, yeah, I could see 7 yards in a quarter. 7 yards and a half with that offensive firepower. I don't know. Wow. And in Cleveland's Cleveland, right? They were in position to kick the game-winning field goal, and the kid missed it. Now, the story that's not getting a ton of headlines, I've seen a few, not a ton, is Shedeur Sanders walking over to that young kicker, putting his hand on his shoulder, and talking to him after the missed field goal. That's leadership. So I don't know if
Wait
you've
a
seen
minute.
that.
Wait a minute. You sure that wasn't Dylan Gabriel?
Nope, it was Shador Sanders, baby.
No,
So
I'm just messing.
I
I'm
thought
just-
that was I thought that was really cool of a, you know, of somebody to go over to, because nobody that I saw went over to him, and then they had Shador come over and he put his hand on the shoulder and just had a short conversation to try and pick the young kicker up, and that's what leaders do, right?
And that doesn't get lost. That does not get lost by when it to the people that it really matters to. Right now, if you have a hidden agenda, all right, then yeah, maybe it does get lost. There. Speaking of another video, there was a video that I was watching of a kid pushing a sled. Team had already finished practice.
The D1 kid.
Yes.
Yes, and the coaches
Yes.
are watching through the window like he can't. He doesn't see us.
That's right. Everybody has gone off the field, and I think they were in pads or whatever. He takes pads off and he goes back and forth pushing the sled 110 yards. Just going back and forth, working out, trying to get himself ready. Coaches, like Stevie D said, coaches were upstairs and they were watching. When you do things, right or wrong, Stevie D, right or wrong, somebody's watching. So for Shador to do that, not only did my man Stevie D see it, but there's people within that Browns organization that saw it. There's players on that bench that saw that. And to your point about leadership, that's where you gain that respect. Good call.
Yeah.
But the Browns, do we need to go back to Hugh Jackson? Is that what it is?
No, at what point does Kevin Stefanski be held accountable for what's going on in Cleveland? I know he's not the one that pulled the trade for Deshaun Watson. I know he's not necessarily in control of the draft day, right? Your GM and owner are going to really dictate a lot of things. But at what point do you say, how many years has this guy had an opportunity to? And he's had talent. It's not like he hasn't had talent. Yeah, he's had some injuries. Don't get me wrong with Chubb, but at what point do you say his voice is just not working here anymore because they just can't get it together?
You're a year or two late.
Because that talent is now gone, and you're paying Myles Garrett all that money for what?
That move should have been made a long time ago. A long time ago.
The move should have traded Myles Garrett, blown that up, get a haul back for him, and use that picks to rebuild and reset your salary cap.
Yeah, they're afraid of what the fan base would say or fan base would do. That really boils down to it. But if you want to win over the fan base, win some games. And if it means that you got to go away from Garrett, just like the Cowboys are one edge rusher away from being the most dominant team. Maybe next year in the draft, they'll be able to find that missing piece because they are so close, DVD. So close.
Dude, I was dying when I heard that quote at the end of that game.
Yeah.
Jerry. Dying when I heard that quote.
All right, and then the last one that we talk about, and I guess the only reason why we're going to talk about this, it's the Bears-Vikings game. There's been a lot of discussion about, how Caleb looked early on and then completely fell off, how bad J.J. McCarthy looked and then all of a sudden turned it on, right? So you had a tale of two cities there. But it came down to the end. And really it goes to Ben Johnson. Right, it's that rookie head coach, and the decisions that you make, and the bad decisions that you make, and you find yourself 0-1. Now, not to say that they would have been able to come all the way down the field and be able to do something, but still, it's a bad decision. You played yourself out of the game, is what ultimately happened. So, all right, Stevie D, let's go ahead and. I guess we just go ahead and get into it, right? Rip the Band-Aid off, and I knew my man was not going to miss the shot to be able to have this, to give me unfettered, unadulterated, complete OW Sports access of a Bills Jets week? Are you kidding me?
Well, I said to myself when the cable got cut, I said of all days to have a show, when the Jets are about to play the Bills, and this happens, like I was just like, you got to be kidding me. So
I
did everything in my power to get here. Well, Google did everything.
I still want to know how much you paid to get this back up and running. Because it was tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. He's like, yo, bro, how much more do you need? I got to get on.
Well, then I'm watching the guy, right? And he's on his phone. I'm like, we got to get that thing in the ground. Let's go, man. Seriously.
At least you didn't have the crew that did the initial install. You would have been done. You would have been done.
Yeah.
We would have been wrapping this show up saying, go Bills. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? All right. Okay. Oh, Craig said, did not know that this was the week. So there's a lot of games that are happening for week 2. None of them matter. It's all about what's happening at 1 o'clock at MetLife Stadium. First of all, thank you to the New York Jets for hosting the game and for having such a bad season last year. From the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. Do you know how long it took me to recover from that Sunday night game? First of all, the game ends about, 11:30, 12 o'clock? We do the podcast. I don't go to sleep until about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. Then I got to get up for work. I was done.
Yeah.
I do have a PSA. You know I love me some Josh. Love me some Josh. Josh, be careful. Just going to say this right now. Josh, be careful. I understand you were hyped up and you were in the moment. But what you don't understand is that those fans are part of why you're here and why you're able to have that contract negotiated and renegotiated. What you don't realize is that after that game, you guys have a little bit of a pass. Late game, you can sleep in. You have people that have regular jobs that are spending their hard-earned money to come out there and see you, who have been out there all day tailgating. Now, that's on them. That's Bills Mafia. That's how we roll, baby, right? Like to get a few libations going. But they're out there trying to get ready for the game. Opening kickoff, they were there. As you guys allowed Derrick Henry to run for 500 yards, I think is what I tabulated at one point, they were still there. They stayed all the way until part of the fourth quarter. Now, keep in mind, Josh, during regular games, 1 o'clock game, I know people. My uncle was like, all right, I'm good. 3 quarters in, I'm out, right? Let me beat the traffic. I'm going to listen on the radio. Don't have to deal with that. There are people that do that regular. But now you're talking about a night game where people have to get up and go to work. Maybe people brought their kids and they're like, we got to go. It's not that they don't cheer you on. They're listening on the radio. And then on top of that, you're down by 15. It did not look great. So you add all of that, you can't come at the fans and say, you should have been here. You can't do that.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. Josh, continue to do it. Alienate your fan base. Get them against you so you stink and you come down out of Superman levels. So I say go with it. Ignore the advice that you just got. Just keep alienating the fan base. You got my approval to do so.
There he goes. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Little does he know I will be in attendance for that Jets-Buccaneers game.
Yeah,
That's
good. You go to more regular season Jet games than you do the Buffalo Bill games. That's good.
If I need to go see Todd Bowles, I'm going to go talk to Todd Bowles. Be like, look, this is what I want you to do.
Hey.
And then be like, wait a minute, Todd. Who cares who's over there? You guys got this. Let's go, Baker. Let's go, Mike.
Hey, if something's going wrong, I'm going to be so close to the field. I'm just going to hop over the ground and get on the field and tell the Jets, hey, I'm giving you guys a free timeout. Okay, use it wisely. I'm your extra timeout in the half.
We are remote, but don't put that moniker on us. This is not tech support. Oh boy, you give me in big trouble.
Yeah.
I got to dust this stuff up. Stevie D, I may be telling it myself, but we were on. I was working with one of the text traders. I'm like, let me dust this stuff off and kind of get in with the guys. You're part of the crew. All right, let's see. Let's figure out how we do this. It's like, ooh, that's not how we do this anymore.
Yes.
Oh boy. So sometimes you got to know where you leave the past in the past, right? Yeah, just come back with the tablet and the notepad and the pen, and go into pivot tables and VLOOKUP.
You own it on the pivot table side, right? They get lost in the pivot table. You
Yeah.
them who's boss, you bust out a pivot table.
Oh yeah, get the pivot chart. Like, here are your ticket counts. Look at this. Like, we got to improve this, right? Start talking about EBITDA. That now you're gone. Now you're not. Now we're in good shape.
I got tickets to close. I gotta go. I got tickets to close. All right.
Oh, Craig's got a. All right. Got an in over there.
Craig, DM me after the show. Maybe we can put some X-Lax in the food or something.
Here we go. Here we go. You can't beat a man up. Can't do it head to head. You got to go and try to get.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. I mean, come on.
Bill Belichick right here, ladies and gentlemen. Bill Belichick. All right, so Stevie D, we have the game. I just want. How do I put this? There are some things that really concern me about this game. Now, I know it's a different New York Jets team. Yes, in all fairness, I get that. But when I look at Josh Allen throughout the years against the New York Jets, it hasn't been the same as it has been with Josh Allen versus the Patriots or the Dolphins or anybody else really besides the Bengals and the Jets, right? He's had a hard time against the Jets. Yes,
At MetLife.
At MetLife.
In Buffalo, you guys are putting up crazy points in Buffalo. I don't know what it is at MetLife Stadium. He hasn't put up those crazy points. Yeah.
So, I'm just looking at this going back to 2018, just looking at the completion percentage, 50%, 64, 60. He did have a 71%, 69, 75, 53, 52, 59. It's like, what's going on here? Then he pumped it up to 70, 60, 76, 59. That is not a guy with an S on the chest. The one thing I will say, the passing got a little bit better over especially last year, than what we've seen in years prior. But some of these years were with some decent receiving core.
Yeah, last year, and it's not an excuse, but the only thing I could think of why maybe that pattern was broken is because Saleh was fired at that point, and we were a disaster with Jeff Ulbrich. I mean, as soon as you fired Saleh, it was a crap show. It really was. All right. So, look, I don't know what we're going to get out of the Jet defense, right? We talked about it. I mean, my keys for the Jets, you have to control that clock for 40 minutes. You have to be able to run the football and control that clock and bleed the clock down. You got to have 40 minutes time possession. And if we don't figure out the secondary and coverage, his name was Tyson. His last name was Tyson. I don't know his first name. I don't want to call him by his last name, but
Bill Tyson.
Bill.
But you can call him Tyson.
Okay, Iron Tyson. If the Jets didn't have a lot of blown zone coverage where the guys were totally out of place, Aaron Rodgers is not going to have those free throws that he had where guys were wide open. he still had to make the throw, and he made great throws when he had it because some of them were off balance, and it was vintage Aaron Rodgers making great passes, but they were wide open guys. There was nobody around, and our coverage in zone was atrocious. Nobody knew what they were doing in zone coverage. So if we don't fix that problem, it's going to be a long afternoon in our secondary. If they don't fix those communication problems and fix it, what happened on tape. Because if we go into that again, oh God, it's gonna be ugly. So we have to fix those secondary communication problems, and we have to control the running game. And somehow you have to get turnovers, whichever way possible. You got to figure it out because yes, we were good offensively against the Steelers, and I don't know, the Steelers supposedly had the number one defense in the league last year, but that was last year. And a lot of people saying, "Oh, the Jets did this against the number one overall defense." That was last year. It was a different team. We showed that we can run it. That was great. That was in week 1. Can we do that 2 weeks in a row? We have to do that to win. Everybody's talking up Justin Fields. It was one game. It was one game. We have to pump the brakes here on overexciting on the Jets offense. If we can do it for 3 to 4 weeks in a row, okay, then get something to get excited about. But if the Jets can't run the football and control that clock for 40 minutes, it's going to be a disaster at MetLife Stadium. Because the Buffalo Bills, if your offensive coordinator doesn't go conservative, I don't know how you stop this offense. I truly don't. I've told you this. I don't know how you stop it. So it's 40 minutes, run the football. You have to be 1 or 2 up on the turnover battle, and your secondary better figure out the problems that they had and hope that you're able to fool Josh in some coverage and get him to make a mistake, or you get a turnover in special teams or to get one of the running backs to turn it over. Because we have to cut their possessions down. Because that's one thing that you saw. Buffalo can score like that. Like that. Minute and a half, they go right down the field. So, really the keys of the game are that simple for me on the Jets side.
So, I mean, you just jumped right into the keys, right? I'm going to tell you, we talked about it before. There's no such thing as a trap game. All right? That team over there on the other sideline, that is a team that is on the rise, and you have to recognize it. And I think some of the people are starting to. It's kind of funny. You have some that are more of you have to continue to show me, and other people are starting to say, well, there's something different that's happening here. And the fact that Salah's gone, that Ulbrich is gone, you brought in Aaron Glenn, there's a new mindset, there's a new mentality. And players are starting to take notice. And the fact of there was no quit in that team. They, for the most part, they were prepared and they're being held accountable. Stevie D and I talked a little bit offline. You have to be careful because in today's age, you can't coach like it was 1991. But you need that. That's what Sean McDermott brought to the Buffalo Bills is accountability. Discipline. And once you get past that, then you can kind of ease up on the reins. So there's something happening over there. Something is cooking. And it's cooking enough that they showed out last week to the point where they were in that game. And if it wasn't for a fumble on a kickoff, we're talking about 2 1-0 teams facing off.
And the loss I wasn't totally devastated by the loss because I was happy what I saw of the offense. Everybody talks about Aaron Rodgers in that game. The Steelers had 271 total yards. 271. That wasn't great. It wasn't great. The Jets had over 400 and scored over 30. Like, from a Jets perspective, it was, where did this come from, right? And I thought that the play calling was great. Now, I thought Arthur Smith deployed the 2 tight ends, and they had a nice game plan. But let's not – everybody's making it seem like the Steelers were all this. The Steelers were not all this. They had 271 total yards. They weren't all that because they only gained 271. And if our defense communicated better and we're in the right spots in the zone instead of having two people standing next to each other in the zone defense, they don't get 271 and Aaron Rodgers is not throwing for 4 touchdowns. Right? So they made the play, but we aided them. And that's the stuff that Aaron Glenn's got to clean up on the tape. Right? And again, what does that have to do? It has to do with not playing your players. So if you don't play your players on defense and you get into week 1, people are in the wrong spots because you're not practicing it and you don't see it on game. I don't care about the backfield at Florham Park. I want them in pads against a live football team. And we were not prepared. Those players were not prepared. So again, we are definitely better off than we were last year. I think Aaron Glenn is changing a culture, and it takes time to continue. It's like he said at the podium about penalties. Hey, we still got to get better, but look what we did on the pre-snap penalties. Look how much better and smoother our offense ran there compared to last year. We have to clean up the personal foul penalties. That may take a little bit longer, but we are addressing it, and little by little, we'll continue to get better. Again, it's just that change of culture where the lack of accountability, where you allow the patients to run the asylum, and that's what it was. That's what Saleh did. He allowed the patients to run it instead of being all in as a coach and making the players accountable for their actions on a football field. So again, it has nothing to do with the Buffalo game. It's just the progression with the Jets. Kind of agree with you that we're trending in the right direction, but there's a lot more data that's got to come back to it. And look, we carried on the Rapid Reaction show, but there's things as a coach that he's got to do on game day that's got to be better, right? That we saw with the timeouts and just certain things during the game that he has to hopefully look at the tape and say, "Ooh, yeah, I made that mistake." But again, I just go back. Mine is simple: 40 minutes, win the turnover battle, fix your secondary communication, and have a shot to win the game. Still doesn't guarantee you're going to win a football game, but that recipe, you should be in the game against the Buffalo Bills if you're able to do that. What are your keys?
You done?
Yeah.
Your buzzer went off a long time ago.
It's all right. You had all this show to talk about your Bills before I got
it. He just wants to go on. This is what happens when you're a bottom feeder and you start creeping your head above the top. You think, oh, let me just go on and on and on. We're giving you your recognition. You're there, but we'll see what happens. No, what I was really going to with that point is that people have to start to recognize and not take a team for granted. This is what they would call the prototypical trap game. There's no such thing as trap game, first of all, and we talked about this before. A trap game is when you look past somebody. This is not a team to look past. We saw what they did. That's not the same team we saw before. It's not the same team that had a bad offensive coordinator, had a bad head coach, had a bad quarterback. I like Justin Fields. We talked about it before. Justin Fields brings a dynamic. He got a raw deal in Chicago, got an even worse, probably raw deal in Pittsburgh. Because think about this. He's 4-2 in Pittsburgh and gets benched for Russell Wilson. Raw deal. The good thing for Justin Fields is that there's somebody that believed in him. And sometimes that's all it takes, is for somebody to tell you, I believe in you. And we saw what he did. He went out and he performed. And not only did he say, I believe in you, he said, I don't want you to always run. And that's what, a lot of teams think he's going to run. But he has that in his arsenal. And so you have to be careful. Is he Lamar Jackson? No. Not that. But he runs enough and he has enough escapability that from time to time, you may think that that's Lamar Jackson because he's taking off running. You got to be careful. Joey Bosa, don't allow 57 to come back into the game to show you how to set the edge. Don't do that because that guy could be dangerous. What concerns me, though, is the secondary. That's what concerns me. I've talked about it ad nauseum. And so now you're going up against a guy that they've basically taken the governor off. They said, go ahead and throw it. Now, does he have the most prolific wide receiving core that people know of? No. Okay. But neither did Baltimore. So, when I got to worry about, Cole Bishop and Rapp and, a rookie that's over on the corner, that worries me. That worries me. Stevie D talked about time of possession, ball control, limit the amount of plays that Buffalo's offense can actually have with the ball, with possession on the field. Don't disagree with that. But I actually go back to something that he has preached for year after year. This game will be won up front. This game will be won in the trenches. The Jets have a kind of a remade offensive line. A lot of new guys that have come in, a lot of rookies, first-year players. You have Vera Tucker, who's out. So you have somebody somewhere down the line that's replaced that. If you're going to take advantage of a team that is gelling in continuity, it better be now. Because you got some young studs. You got some young studs over there that are ready to go. And if you allow that to fester, go ahead.
Our rookie right tackle from Mizzou, Membu, was on TJ Watt all game. Membu got the highest rated grade for an offensive lineman in week 1 with over a 90, and he guarded TJ Watt. Now, do I expect that performance every week? I was sweating the TJ Watt, but the kid showed up and did a really good job on TJ Watt. So that was nice to see. But, can you do it multiple weeks in a row? And right, we'll see. Right.
And that's where, when I say up front, if you get these guys right again, this is his first year? No, second year.
Second year for Fashanu at the left tackle.
Okay.
We really played maybe half a year at left tackle, and then Membu was the rookie on the right tackle. That's the right tackle.
Okay. So again, when you look at that, you have to say, okay, these guys are starting to settle in. You got to get them early. You have to dominate. You have to show your presence. So that's you, Joey Bosa. That's you, Greg Rousseau. And Ed Oliver, you had one heck of a game last week, but don't disappear for a few weeks and then come back. Let's follow that one up. Bring that pressure. You start to bring that pressure, maybe you get Justin Fields to start to revert and lose that confidence that he was gaining before. If that happens, you also have to slow down the running game, because now you got a team that realizes that it has 2 to 3 running backs back there. What was it that was said? You'll remember this. I didn't realize how fast he was.
Yeah.
That comes from your coach.
That was our old offensive coordinator last year with 2 weeks left in the season. He says, or 3 weeks left in the season, goes, I didn't realize how fast Breece Hall is.
I got nothing for you. That was your coach that says that.
You got nothing for me. I got nothing for myself. I mean, that is just mind-blowing to me.
True.
I thought I saw him being a Walmart greeter not that long ago.
It would surprise me. It would not surprise me. So, you have to look at what you're going against. On the offensive side of the ball, I think no matter who's there, it's going to be a slugfest. I mean, for the most part, you have the same cast of characters. You have a different corner because you had, DJ Reed last time. So you have trying to think of who
Brandon Stevens.
Yeah, from Baltimore.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yep. So you have him over there. So he'll be tied up. And then you have Sauce over there. What I do like, it wasn't that everybody eats, but we started to see Joshua Palmer out there. You started to see Keon Coleman. You started to see the tight ends, all 3 tight ends contributing. That's very good. Plus Khalil Shakir, very good. plus James Cook, and he has his explosiveness. So we have some opportunity there, but I don't want to be reliant on the pass. So that implores you, the offensive line, you have got to open up the holes. You have to. I don't want Josh back there 40 times, even though it's nice to watch him throw that ball around. I don't want that. Give me Josh back there 25 to 30. Let me have Cook with 15 to 20 carries. Give Ty Johnson a few, and Ray Davis, at some point you need to tap out and let Frank Gore Jr. come in there. My opinion, just saying. So, there's some things that I do believe we can take advantage of, but there are also some things that you have got to be careful of. A, you're on the road. B, it's a division rival. It's a division game against a division rival. They're going to be hyped up. There's everybody says, well, the letdown. No, McDermott, if you're going to coach, and hear me loud and clear as I say this, if you want to be recognized as one of the premier head coaches, you do not allow this team to have a letdown. On paper, you're a better team. But if you allow them to have a letdown, all bets are off because this team is coming. And that means that you're not prepared. And that's my concern, Stevie D.
Concern for me, because it was a good word, concern. Because I didn't go that route of what concerns me. What I'm interested to see or concerned about long term with the Jets. That's great that they dominated the run game against Pittsburgh. But what happens if Buffalo stuffs the run and Buffalo goes up multiple scores? Can the Jets' offensive game play catch up? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, can they throw their way back into a game? Like, at some point, I have to see, can we throw ourselves back in the game? Because there's going to be games this year, I don't know how many, that we are going to be losing, and the team is going to go up multiple scores. And how does that happen? Can we throw ourselves back into a game? I'm not talking about in a prevent-style defense, right, where teams are just giving you chunk yards just because they're trying to eat clock, which I'm never a fan of the prevent defense. Not a fan of it. Make teams earn it. I'm not saying don't have the help deep where they can get that 60-yard play, but don't give them those 10 to 15-yard plays where they can just matriculate down. But at the end, can Justin Fields, with the weapons that the Jets gave him, can he show something in the passing game when you're down? I don't know, and I don't want to see it, but I'm going to see it, right? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you never want to be down multiple scores, but at some point it's going to happen.
Sure.
Right? And how do we handle that? And so that may be that opportunity in week 2 where we see if Justin has to come back from multiple scores in the second half, and how does he handle that? How does our offensive coordinator handle that too? Right?
Who is your offensive coordinator?
Don't ask me to pronounce his last name. Tanner. It starts with an S. I'm going to murder it. I don't even want to try to say it, but Tanner. And I thought his game plan and his play calling was good in week 1. But it's different when you're trailing by multiple scores and when the running game is not something you can rely on a drive for 6 or 7 runs on a drive because you got to get it downfield and they know you're throwing. So, and how does our young tackles handle a pass rush when they have to throw it? It's different when you don't know if it's going to be a run or a pass, but when those guys can pin back and rush, how do those guys handle that? How do they handle stunts and just different things when coaches are trying to confuse the offense because they know passing is coming. So all things to see if that comes out in week 2. Those are some of the things that concern me.
So what Stevie D is saying, Josh, hear me now. Get the lead early.
Yeah, that's until the Jets can prove that they can effectively throw the ball consistently. Like with Buffalo, you don't have that worry. Yeah, you can throw consistently with Josh Allen, right? So you don't have that problem. No, it doesn't matter whether you have name receivers or not, right? You don't have a plethora of name receivers that everybody knows in the league, and Josh gets it done, right? It's the scheme, and it's Josh Allen's talent, right? That he brings up his players around him. He makes the players around him better. And can Justin Fields with Tanner do the same thing? And if we can't, we're going to be in the same mess we were in previous years with throwing the football. So we'll see. We'll see. But, at the end of the day, I know you said it with Craig. I'm going to say it to you first. At the end of the day, who wins and loses, it's great for either team. For the win, just come out healthy, no major injuries, go on to week 3, and with everybody healthy, because good
100%.
football is always when everybody's healthy, and that's what fans want to pay and see, is everybody healthy at full strength and going mano a mano. So hopefully both of our teams come out, injury free.
100%. 100%. One thing I do have here for you, Stevie D, what we decided that we were going to try to do, and I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get this to work exactly how we want it to. So bear with me as I do this. All right, so let's see. You got the big one. Let's transition back. That didn't work, Stevie D. So that one did not play out as expected. But I guess more than anything, what I really want to do, let's see, let's try this one more time. Okay. First of all, I was trying to time it, and I said, okay, if I leave now, I'll be back in time for kickoff. Man, I made it back. Now, partly my fault because I'm over there, and it's a good time. I swear, it's like the greatest place in the world, especially for Bills fans. You walk in, it's like Cheers, but Buffalo style. You walk in, go Bills. I'm like, hey, go Bills, right? That's the way we say hi, goodbye, everything else. And you have everybody sitting around the countertop, having a beer, or sitting at tables, eating pizza, people running in and out. Everybody wearing red, white, and blue. Loved it. Then they had the games on. Now, I could have gone in and then left, and I would have been back. But now I got the games on, and I'm like, I got to watch the end of this Detroit game. So that was good. I got to watch the end of the Denver game, right? And so now I'm pushing it, right? And of course, in the Denver game, they want to take forever. I was like, oh, you're killing me, guys. I end up leaving. I get home. And as I get home, I was cursing a lot of people on the drive home. Will you go? Right? Because it seemed like every lane I got in, the guy was going like maybe 5 miles under the speed limit. And I just can't go. And there was a guy in front of me who he was in a rush as well. Anyways, I get home, 8:02, just in time. Oh yeah, I was pushing it. Man, was I speeding. Sorry, police. Yes, I was pushing it. But one more thing with Pizza Joe's. There's somebody through the podcast and what have you connected from high school, right? So quick chat. Hey, how you doing? What's going on? That's it, right? First question. Well, then once we realize, hey, I'm down here. He's in Sarasota, Bradenton, I think. Yeah, like, oh, I'm in Tampa. He's like, have you been to Pizza Joe's? I didn't bring it up. He didn't know about any of that. I was like, absolutely. It's kind of become the meeting spot, the melting spot, right, for everybody to go. The pizza's good. I went crazy with the order. I had pizza, I had wings, and I ordered a chicken finger sub because I was going to have the chicken finger sub the next day. I had to do it. I had to do it.
So let me ask you about Pizza Joe's. So is Pizza Joe's a place where a lot of people go to watch the games?
Yeah.
Like that type of place
Yeah.
where people sit there for the whole 3 hours for the game, and they sit and watch it and then leave. So you kind of have that hometown feel.
You do. So they were preparing, while I was there, they were preparing because I guess people had called for reservations of tables to sit there. I'm not good in that setting. In all fairness, I'm not good. In that game, I would not have been good in public because even though I would be amongst friends and you probably could say things that everybody's thinking, I just don't want to be that guy to let certain things come out. So I need to be in certain confines. I learned that after 1991 when I watched this kick go off to the right, and I had told people in my dorm room, get out. Right, this is before the kick. I told them, get out. So it was just me watching this kick go, and when that happened, I realized that I'm a different person, and I need to handle things a little bit differently when it comes to my Buffalo Bills, my beloved Buffalo Bills. But I know my limitations. Don't expect me to just sit there, have my fingers, my hands crossed, and just be smiling like, oh well, we'll get them next time. That won't happen. There will be choice words that will come out, and at choice people, Sean McDermott, those things will happen. Number 57, but again, I have to give 57 credit because you showed Bosa. I'll leave it at that. So, all right, Stevie
My
D.
guy AJ.
What's that?
Picking on my guy AJ.
Oh, you see, you he did that on purpose. He did that on purpose.
All right, maybe I did a little bit.
He did it on purpose. All right. You just wait. Diamonds and pearls.
Hey, that's all right. I'll take diamonds and pearls.
I will be playing that. Hold up. Have you get the speaker system going, playing Diamonds and Pearls. People are like, what are they doing? Why are they playing Prince? We'll leave
Draft
it at
night,
that.
baby. Draft night.
It was. All right. Well, Stevie D, as you said, and I will absolutely reiterate, we won a good game. No stupid stuff by the officials. And let's just get out of it healthy.
Yep.
Right? At the end of the day. We got a long season ahead of us. The crazy thing is that after this game, we don't see each other till the end of the season.
And we closed out Highmark with you. So that's at least they did it against AFL teams to close out the stadium, which I thought was cool. It could have been any AFL team, but it is cool that you end with an AFL team in that stadium.
Yeah. So, but that won't be the last game. That's just going to be the last regular season.
Oh, regular season game, sure.
Two more games will be there.
Well, I mean, thanks to Craig's debacle over there, it allowed you to, to really be in a kind of a driver's seat there.
Don't you play the Ravens this year?
Yeah, we played Ravens this year.
Ooh, you starting. Those are fighting words.
Yeah. Shot fired.
Wow.
Look, the Jets can't beat the Ravens anyway, and I've been quiet for years, and we can't beat the Ravens. So I'm out to talk crap and see if I can change my luck. So, I mean, the Ravens are like the Eagles with the Jets. The Jets can't beat the Eagles, and we can't beat the Ravens. Since they've been the Ravens, we have an awful, awful record against the Ravens. So,
is it that bad?
Oh, it's that bad. Yeah.
Okay.
Hell, even in '98, when we went to the AFC Championship game that year, our only home loss all year was to the Ravens. We went 8-1, including a home playoff victory, but we lost to the Ravens. That was the game that Dina got banned for 5 years, by the way. That's what
Stevie D, I don't think people actually understand the true meaning of the band.
Yeah. So real quick on the band is that so in '98, I was still in New York at that time, and my girlfriend, now who's my wife, and my mom went in and got me a full set of season tickets for the Jets for '98. So me being a good guy, I said, why don't you come with me week one? Well, I don't even know if I said come with me on week one. I think she told me I'm going to week one, and then you can go to the rest of the games with your friends. I think that's how that went down. So to be truthful, I think she kind of mandated that she was going week one. So we go week one and we lose, and I'm pissed. Right, like any game you lose, you're just not happy, right? So get in the car, we're driving home. I said, "You're banned." I said, "You're banned. You can't go to any more Jet games. That's it. You're banned." She goes, "What do you mean I'm banned? I got you the tickets." I said, "I don't care that you got me the tickets. You're banned." She's like, "I'm banned." I'm like, "You're banned for 5 years." And she's like arguing in the car, like, "What do you mean I'm banned for 5 years?" Like, "You can't ban me from the Jets for 5 years." I said, "Oh yeah, you want to make a bet?" I said, "You're banned for 5 years." And then I said, "Or produce a male son first. Whichever comes, if you produce a male son, then the ban would be lifted." So what happened was moving to Florida, and so the ban was still in effect, but the ban was for home games. It wasn't for away games. So she pulled that rabbit out. I didn't even think about that. So when we were pregnant, now we knew Richard was going to be a boy because we got the test. She's like, "Well, we can go to the away game, and I got your son right here, so I can go to the away game." So we wound up going to Miami. Went to the Miami game, and they won. And so she was okay to go to away game. So it's just, you're banned. That's how the band started.
I love the band. I feel bad for Mrs. D, but I love the band.
Oh, she got over it. She hates the Jets because of me. She's like, "You're so miserable during football season. Everything is about the Jets, and if the Jets lose, you're unbearable. You're moody. I can't talk to you." So I get so intense with that she literally hates the Jets now because of me. So she is what we call a fair weather fan. She has her allegiance to this team in red out here. She had the allegiance to the Colts when we were in Florida. She had the allegiance to Peyton Manning, and it's awful. I can't take her seriously in football. It's a joke.
She does make red, white, and blue cookies, though.
She does for you. Why? To piss this guy off.
Love you, Mrs. D.
She changes her profile photo for you in playoff time. She makes these cookies. Rainbow cookies are supposed to be the color of the Italian flag. She does it every time unless the Bills are in the playoffs, and then she makes these cookies and makes them red, white, and blue. And she does it just to get my goat. But that's 24 years of happy bliss marriage. I mean, what can I say? It's bliss.
I love you, Mr. D.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Well, that's going to wrap this one up. Again, we appreciate everybody who participated, who joined. My man Stevie D, like the trooper that he is, right? Had to throw a little on the side, make sure that the guys did what they were supposed to do, got what he needed. My man comes back. We were able to chop it up about what, hopefully, again, as we said, it will be a good game. They won't see a whole lot of yellow, and we don't see anybody going in the blue tent. After that, let's just have fun. All right. So, again, that's going to wrap it up. For Stevie D, I'm Vince. We'll talk to you soon.
OWSports where the real ones be. Sit back, relax, 'cause he's too keep it real in the world of football. You know the